feel after that song, I don't need to do a talk, right? This is it. Let it loose on the world. I love that. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. So, hi, I'm Reverend Eileen, and I am so happy to see you all today. It's a beautiful day on the coast, right? It's a beautiful day. And today we're going to talk about the art of collective liberation, about that overcoming our silence. Has anybody ever had a past life where they just sat in the corner where a wallflower didn't just let the world pass them by? Yeah, yeah. It was hard to overcome that, wasn't it? Right? A lot of us do that. A lot of us do that. Many of you wouldn't believe this, but I was that person. I was that person. I was the person in the back, listening and not sharing what I thought. I just listened. I did it for decades. Why? Because I was afraid that when I opened my mouth, stupid would fall out. It really was. I was afraid that when I opened my mouth, stupid would fall out. And it took an acting through improv class that got me through that. The acting through improv class with Reverend Susan Overland, who now works at CSL's home office. She's a dear, dear friend of mine. She was teaching this class in San Jose. And I was afraid to open my mouth. And she got in my face and she said, Eileen, say it. I said, I can't. She said, why? I said, because stupid's going to fall out. She said, join the club. Oh, I don't have to be afraid of what I have to say. And she said, no. And when you make a mistake, you go, ta-da, and you move on, right? Right? I use that a lot in here. I go, ta-da. So today we're going to dive into the transformative power of speaking out for individual and collective liberation. Breaking the silence can enhance trust, drive meaningful change, and foster a more inclusive society. We're going to explore barriers that keep us from voicing our truths and share practical strategies to overcome them. Ready? Are you in for it?
Yep.
Right? All right. James O'Day in the book, The Conscious Activist, where activism meets mysticism, says, spirituality cannot exist in a vacuum. Ignoring spiritual conditions or the plight of humanity, and activism cannot hope to transform the social order in the absence of mature spiritual development. Both must grow beyond any form of privileged exclusivity. In fact, they each must embrace a reality that joins them in service to individual and collective liberation. We can't shift the world without some kind of spirituality. Otherwise, we're walking around blind. We're allowing life to happen to us instead of for us, with us, or through us. I'd rather it be through me, with me, and for me. Look at this beautiful day. It happened for us today. Aren't we lucky? Aren't we lucky? And then we get to look around the room and see friends. That happened for us today, and we showed up as us. The music and the message and the prayers, that happens through us. We start to feel it. We become it. Ernest Holmes says, we believe the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete freedom from all discord of every nature, and that this goal is sure to be attained by all. See, what he's saying is that when he's inviting us to recognize that true liberation, both individually and collectively, demands more than just positive belief. It requires proactive engagement and transformation. What are you gonna do? To align with this vision, we need to move beyond ideas and actively participate in creating a world where freedom from discord becomes a reality. This involves transcending silence. It involves embracing our voices to address and resolve conflicts. See, by speaking up and taking action, we contribute to a collective shift towards harmony and equity. Each each step we take in advocating for ourselves and others helps to dismantle the barriers, and it fosters an environment where freedom and justice are acceptable for all. I've been reading this book that Reverend Gale has talked about a lot, Freedom from Discord. So yeah, Freedom from Discord by Reverend David Alexander, Reverend Dr. David Alexander out of the Atlanta Church. It's inspiring me. See, what he says in the very beginning of this book is, as a spiritual community, Centers for Spiritual Living was growing and thriving in the 80s and 90s in the era of we can manifest anything. Money, property, prestige, partnerships, parking places. Oh, I'm good at parking places. Yeah, you too, Janet? Well, we can, by changing our minds, we can fill our lives, which is all great. But there was this fear about standing up for rights. There's still this fear going on in our churches, in our spiritual centers today, where people are afraid to talk about what isn't working for the world. What isn't working for the world? I don't want to be that person that sits by and watches. I'm not that person. I'm the person that's going to walk up to someone and say, are you okay? Can I support you? Rather than ignore them. Somebody's in pain, I'm going to walk up and sit next to someone. Maybe not touch them, maybe not say anything, just sit and hold space. That's powerful. When they look over, I just nod. Do this. I got you. See, because sometimes when people are in that moment, they don't want that overwhelming. Some people do, and some people just don't. They just want to know that you're there for them. Right? What if we are there for the entire world? What if we're there for the entire planet? What if we're there for everything that we can see and everything that is unseen? Right? So let's talk about the consequences of silence. By choosing not to speak up, we inadvertently contribute to the continuation of harmful patterns and inequalities, allowing issues to fester. They fester. They kind of, all the pus collects around it. They're gross. They fester. They're like a wound that's not being taken care of. When we don't speak up, who are we hurting? Ourselves. What happens when we don't speak up? We take it. We take what's being given to us. I was sitting yesterday talking with a friend, and she shared with me how she happened to land where she's at now. And I was very honored that she told me that she escaped a violent situation, a violent marriage. Not so much physically, but very much emotionally. And I said to her, I'm so proud of you for standing up for yourself and for your daughter. Imagine where the two of you may be today had you not stood up for yourself. Had you stayed in the silence of an abusive relationship. Imagine where you might be, where your daughter might be. It took courage for her to say, no more. I'm not taking this. I'm out of here. And she shifted something, both in herself and for her daughter. Her daughter has a healthy, wonderful marriage with kids now, instead of a broken heart and a broken mind, right? Silence impacts our well-being by causing that internal conflict and emotional strain. Have you ever sat in something that didn't feel comfortable and felt that? Yeah. I was reading, somebody posted it on Facebook this morning they posted a couple of days ago, I saw it this morning, about it's been 2 years since a lot of us were laid off. And how painful that still is for a lot of people. And I thought, I had a choice. in that moment of getting that email saying, thank you for your service, but you are no longer an employee of our company. I was one of 8,000 people. It wasn't personal. But a lot of people I noticed had taken it personally. I looked at it as, woohoo, what's next? And as I was reading this and contemplating it this morning, I realized it's been 2 years of me untangling the tightness and the stress that was in my body for so long. You know, my shoulders used to be here all the time. I had headaches. My back hurt. I was walking around like this all the time. It's like I had surgery. I dropped them. Wow. Instead of falling into the victimhood, I stepped into the power. I said to Mark, honey, I gotta go. I gotta go to the coast. I gotta go spend time with my cousin, who now has his own house up here too, right? So the two of us both escaped the craziness of Silicon Valley to spend a couple of weeks in Albion, and now we both are here, right? We spoke up for what we needed. We took care of ourselves. The second thing that happens is that there's an erosion of trust and missed opportunities if we don't speak out. Silence in the face of issues or conflicts can significantly erode trust within relationships and limit opportunities for positive change. When we remain silent, whether in personal or professional settings, we risk misunderstandings and unmet expectations that damage the foundation of our connections. This lack of communication can lead to a breakdown in mutual respect and make it increasingly difficult to resolve conflicts. I have had that experience where I thought, I'll just forget about it. It'll go away. Whatever that conflict was. It doesn't. You have to talk about them. You have to say, use your best nonviolent communication methods, right? This is what I noticed. This is how it made me feel. I'm sure it wasn't your intention. Use as many words as you can that will help with that. But get it off your chest in a kind and gentle way. The third point is barriers to speaking out and overcoming them. So a lot of barriers keep us silent, including that fear of rejection. Anyone? Yeah. Have fear of rejection. I was afraid to open my mouth because I thought stupid would fall out. People would look at me differently. What I realized later is I wasn't opening my mouth and they were looking at me. Funny, like she doesn't have an opinion in the world. I had a lot of gray areas in my 20s, in my teens and my 20s, until something traumatic happened to me. And I went, wait, I need boundaries. And I'm still learning about them and I'm still putting them in place. And sometimes I take them out. No, that one's not working. I put a new boundary in, right? But there's this perceived power imbalance that happens when we're silent, or concerns about the potential fallout of speaking out. Overcoming these barriers requires a proactive approach to building confidence and resilience. And that's what we do here at Centers for Spiritual Living. We build our confidence by looking at who we truly are. And we work on our resiliency. What happens when we fall down, when life is difficult? What happens when we have to put a beloved pet to sleep because they're just too ill? Right? It's heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. And we have the resiliency. We know that this is temporary, that these feelings are temporary. Right? So we start by developing self-awareness and recognizing the root cause of our fear. That's why Professor Matt's workshops every month are so important. Learning about our emotional intelligence helps us with our self-awareness. I hang out with my nieces and I ask, how are you doing? I don't know. Are you feeling good? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling mad? I don't know. If you were to give your feeling a color, what would it be? I don't know. Own it, kid. Own it. It's okay to be mad. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to celebrate. It's okay to have all of those feelings. Why? Because that's how we experience ourselves. That's how the divine one experiences itself through us. Remember, we're all one. So when we start by developing that self-awareness, we can recognize the root causes of our fears. And practicing assertiveness and engaging in small, manageable acts of communication can help build our courage over time. I'm going to talk about my niece, Addie. Addie is what I like to call neurospicy. Neurospicy. Neurospicy people, we are fun. I'm one of them. We're fun. We know how to get things done. But our brains work differently. That's all it is. Our brains work differently. You know, I walked around life keeping my mouth shut because I thought, I'm not like everyone else. Nobody's going to understand me. What I realized was that everyone else walking around was feeling the same way. Feeling the same way. We all have those moments of, I don't fit in here. Uh-oh. Addie, though, I was picking her up from elementary school one day, and she was in an argument with her best friend. I didn't know what it was about, but she stopped as we were walking out to the car, and she said, listen, my brain works differently than yours. I feel all the feelings. If it bothers you, I'm sorry. We could talk about that. And I thought, wow, she gets it. She must have been like 8 at the time. Yeah, she's 10 now. Sometimes I think she's like 25. She's wise, that little one. She's wise. My brain is different than yours. Talk about self-awareness. Talk about speaking up for herself and everyone else who's neurospicy. Out of the mouths of babes, right? Out of the mouths of babes. So let's talk about some steps to overcoming silence. Ready for this?
Yes.
1, embrace your voice. Embrace your voice. Start by recognizing the divine power in your thoughts and voice. Use affirmation and positive self-talk to build confidence in your ability to shape your reality and advocate effectively for your needs. One of my very favorite things to do is to write affirmations on my mirror in a whiteboard marker because it wipes off really easily. And I found if I put them in my bathroom, if I do it on Post-its in my bathroom, they fall off. But a whiteboard marker works great. I can write on there. I can write, embrace your voice. And it reminds me every day. Second one, engage in spiritual practices. Incorporate practices like affirmative prayer, meditation, and visualization into your daily routine. These spiritual tools will help you align with the universal mind, gain clarity, and strengthen your resolve to speak out. Having a regular spiritual practice is so important. I don't come out of my bedroom in the morning. The dog doesn't come out of his kennel in the morning until I'm complete. Until I'm complete. Because if I wake up late and jump in the shower and get in the car and go, I am not myself. I am not myself. I learned that when I was working in tech, right? I would then walk in the office like this, you know, just vibrating because I woke up with that energy. No, if I slow down and give myself a moment, my entire day shifts. My entire day shifts. Third thing, create safe spaces. Whether in your personal life or in your community, strive to create environments where open dialogue and expression are encouraged. Support others in listening to their stories and their experiences. Don't judge, just listen. And when they're done, thank them for the gift of trusting you with what it was that they were sharing. It's amazing when you thank somebody for sharing something, right? Foster that culture of compassionate listening and mutual respect. The fourth step is to advocate for change. Use your voice to advocate for personal and social change. Engage in conversations, join advocacy groups, and participate in collective actions that align with the principles of unity, love, and justice. Remember, your voice matters, and that voice can contribute to the collective consciousness needed to drive transformation in our world. Y'all know what the collective consciousness is? The collective consciousness is that belief that we all walk around with. The collective consciousness is what's happening when we watch the news too much, because the news is giving us the exception. The news is telling us that this happened, that this terrible thing has happened, but it doesn't tell us about these billions of other things that are great that happened. They focus in on the negative. I remember going to New York years ago for New Year's Eve to spend it with some friends of mine up in Yonkers. And I remember sitting back and watching the news in New York and thinking, wow, they really sensationalize the ugly here. It was uncomfortable to watch, but I watched it as a way of experiencing how others receive their news. I couldn't wait to come home and start watching Bay Area news again. I couldn't wait. If I'm going to watch the news, I'm going to watch the morning news. Why? Because they're going to tell me about traffic and they're going to tell me about weather. Every 10 minutes, I'm going to get a traffic report and weather report. Those are generally not bad things. And if I'm going to have the news on in the morning while I'm getting ready, because I want to know what the weather is or what the traffic is or what's good in the world, that's what I put on. I don't watch the evening news. Very seldom. My husband has to tell me what's going on in the world. And even then, I'm usually like, I'll find out from the late night comedians. That's how I'll find out, right? I'll tell you, that's my favorite place. But if I'm also trying to figure out what's going on in the world, I go to allsides.com. It gives you the far left, the far right, and the middle. So you can look at all aspects of it and make your own decision, right? So when I'm advocating for change, I educate myself. I do not want to be one of those people that we all know about that says, well, I think it needs to be this way, and changes the rules on everybody, right? Or makes promises that they don't keep, right? Because they don't realize that they can't make those promises, right? So advocate for change, but do it in actions that align with unity, love, and justice. And persist in your journey. That's the fifth step. Understand that breaking silence and advocating for change is an ongoing process. Stay resilient and persistent in your spiritual practices and of your advocacy efforts, knowing that each step you take is a step towards greater liberation and enlightenment for yourself and for others. Advocating for change is an ongoing process, both for ourselves and our communities, both for ourselves and our planet. I've talked about this before. It takes a 1% change today. A 1% change today. And if you take that 1% change and follow that path, things will be different for you. If you take a 1% change and say, I'm going to speak up for myself on this thing that I need to speak up for, or I'm going to speak up for my community with this one thing, do it. Do it. You don't have to change the world overnight. What you do need to do is shift the consciousness, and that starts with shifting our own consciousness. That's what practitioners are doing. When practitioners pray with you, We are praying to shift our own consciousness, and then we invite you to come along for the ride, right? We are praying to shift our consciousness so that we can see who you are, whole, healthy, and complete. And then we invite you in. Come play in this playground with me. It's fun. So as I close today, I want to honor this Memorial Day. I want to honor this day that we celebrate here in the United States, where we honor those who have served in the military and those who have passed. Those people that have created a country that we're safe in, that have stood up for us, even though they don't know us. I want to honor them. So let's just take a moment and think of anyone you know who may have been in the service, any branch, any part, doing any job that is no longer with us. And I want you to imagine all of those that they may have served with that are no longer with us. I want you to expand that to every person that has ever served in any armed forces in any part of the world, and include them. See, today, Memorial Day, is a day that we honor those people. Those people that have served our country. And if you have a name in mind, feel free to say it out loud. Bob Wickman. Bill Wickman. Mitch's entire unit. Yeah, speaking their name into the room, it reminds us that they are not gone, because they're still in our minds and they're still in our hearts. And we thank them for all that they've done. So this month we've talked about self-advocacy and healthy boundaries and the art of reconciliation and individual and collective liberation. It seems like, why would we do this in Sunday service? But there are all ways that we can spiritually grow. There are all ways that we can spiritually grow. So I applaud you all for taking this journey with us. And knowing that together we can change the world. You in for it? Yeah, we can change the world. So let's just take a moment and go into prayer, shall we? Knowing that there is only one mind, one source, one power that I call God, divine presence, and energy that moves in, through, and around each and everything. I know that it is love. I know that it is justice. I know that it is peace and freedom. I know that that energy that moves in, through, and around everything, seen and unseen, it is that which has created each one of us. It is that has created each one of us in its image and likeness, so we can show up and experience life, so it can experience life through us, the good, the bad, the ugly, the love, the joy, the celebration. I know that each person hearing my voice is experiencing a human condition, and yet we can still know that there is a divine condition that overrides all of it. See, that divine condition, we can welcome that into our lives at any moment. And so I invite us all to do that. If you're feeling pain in any part of your body, if you're feeling heartbreak or feeling any fear, I want you to replace that with a spiritual aspect that fills you. Love, joy, peace, power, light. And for anyone you know who is feeling anything other than these expressions of the divine, fill them with any of those energies as well. In fact, fill the entire county Fill the entire county, the entire state, the entire country, the entire planet with these beautiful aspects of the divine. Feel it spinning around the globe and coming back to you like lasers, just bing, bing, coming around. Feel everybody else's energy with positive, joy-filled energies, and let them fill you. We replace anything that no longer works for us with the aspects of the divine, and we celebrate it. We celebrate it and we sit in gratitude. We dance in gratitude. We sing in gratitude for all that there is, knowing that it is ours, it is our birthright, and that there is no way we can stop it, no matter how hard we try. So we say, thank you, Spirit, thank you, God, thank you, divine force, for all that there is, for all of the gifts that we get to experience. And then we release this word into the law of mind, knowing that it is already done, that Spirit has our back, that is celebrating and saying, yes, 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 you got it. You got it. It's my gift to you. And so let's anchor this prayer together. We anchor it by simply saying, and so it is. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.